Welcome, dear listeners, to the Speak and Flow podcast, where we dive into strategies to help you and your team unleash the power of their voice, achieve maximum potential and flow. Thank you so much for being here. I have an amazing futurist speaker, leader in the digital AI space. We have Divya Vellanki here. She's a solutions lead. She's exploring solutions to our health and AI, digital health and AI. And she's also using that to foster and improve our overall health through innovative research and solutions. Welcome, Divya.
Thank you for having me, Melinda.
I'm so glad you're here. I am excited to get started, especially with all of this new innovation and health talk that we're speaking about. I'm curious. I know your story. You told me about it, and I think it's so inspiring. Can you share that also with our audience and how you got here today?
Sure. I'll try to keep it short, but feel free to cut me off if I go long. I have a tendency to do that.
I love it.
I am from India originally, and I'm being the only child. I've always been this self-determined person and ambitious. I've always made it a point to drive into every opportunity available to me to enrich my experience and determined to push myself out of my comfort zone. I worked in India for almost 8 years. I started out as an individual contributor right out of college, and then I moved on to working cross collaborating with multiple teams. And then I decided to do my master's in 2022. That's when I moved to the US, and that's where my interest in conversational AI and all of the space started getting in. Um, so I did my master's at the University of Florida, and that's where I got introduced to all the research labs, specifically focusing on how AI can help in the precision medicine, especially in this digital age. What AI brings to the whole field of healthcare. Um, that is when I started making conscious efforts to especially having no background in health.
Mhm.
That's where I started making conscious efforts to make myself available in all possible avenues where I can get more information, kind of
Mhm.
get more comfortable in this arena, so
Mhm.
that I can take a decision of, okay, this is what I want to focus on in health. And that's how my entire focus on during my masters was that.
Mhm.
And I have been fortunate enough that with the kind of people that I've surrounded myself with, the network that I have built here, it has created a lot of opportunities for me, which I'm sure we'll be getting into. So yeah, that's the story. And right now, the work that I'm doing at the Intelligent Clinical Care at the University of Florida, it is specific to the what AI does to the digital health.
Wow. And you just got an award. What was that for?
So this award was it was something it was given to me at the end of my masters.
Mhm.
This is something that's given to every it's called an Outstanding Data Scholar Engineering Award.
Mhm.
So this is picked out of a handful of all the master students for that year,
Mhm.
combining all engineering disciplines. And this is something they choose based on not just on your course grades, but also the kind of contributions that you have made for the university. I must say, it was it was not something that I definitely had in my mind that I should apply for it, or probably I would end up getting glowing recommendations. But it just happened like in a flow, in my
Yeah.
effort to learn something new. It just happened so naturally and organically.
I love that. I love because it sounds like you like to you put yourself in these situations, even if they're uncomfortable, and then you go with curiosity. I mean, have there been time, and then you get this award, and it sounds so easy, and and then it sounds like there's some flow to it. Were there times where you're just doubting yourself, like you just not sure, and what were you doing? What do you?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Every time.
Yeah.
For instance, the work that I did in India is completely different from the work that I'm doing right now.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So when I was focusing on this work specifically, the conversational AI, I was like, hey, my experience has always been on the integrations, enterprise integrations. How do I mix both of these? Will it even fit here? Why would even people want me to work in this space when
Yeah.
my whole experience is out there?
Right.
So there were a lot of doubts, and of course, deciding to do masters after 8 years of professional experience, that
Mhm.
itself was a big question mark to me, like
Mhm.
how good of a decision is this really
Mhm.
at this point in my
Mhm.
career, wherein I could just probably try for something in management or in a higher position outside in the industry. But I made that conscious effort, okay, let me give it a try because I want to step outside of the comfort zone that I
Mhm.
have developed over working in the same company for almost 8 years.
Mhm.
So I wanted to put myself again in that challenging position and see, let me give it a try and see if I can get out of it.
So you're led by the challenge. You're led that
Yes.
seems to guide you. If it's something
Yes.
challenging that stretches you, you're like, okay, that might be the direction that I want to go. And you did go there, and it
Yeah.
sounds successful. And now you're leading teams in this space. Tell us more about that. Tell us more about the team that you're leading, some of the
Mm-hmm.
effective communication skills that you use.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So right now, so as I said, I started out as an individual contributor.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and then I moved on to working within a team, and then at the same time, we're also cross collaborating with multiple teams at the same time, right? And at every step of my career, I have realized how important communication is.
Mhm.
And it's not just about being able to speak the same language like everybody else in the room, but it is also about how beautifully you're able to articulate the objective
Mhm.
of what you're trying to convey.
Mhm.
So right now, as the work that I'm doing here, I have a team of three with me, and at the same time, it's not about you having a team. It's not about you assigning tasks to them and making sure they're getting it done. Following it up with them. Hey, where are we on this? Where are we on this? It's not about that for me.
Mhm.
But for me, it's about how we as a team are working together on this one or two, three different projects that we are working on. Are
Right.
we all on the same page in terms of what our final objective is?
Right.
So because that I have experienced personally, like what it means to not have the complete picture and someone says,
Right.
hey, this project you need to do this, but I have no idea what me doing this is going to do for the entire project.
Yeah.
Um so uh, so so this is what my focus has been, with my team that I have. And it's really interesting because every day you learn, every day I am learning something new. I kind of find my pitfalls, and we are trying to all work together. So it's been really exciting.
Wow. So then it sounds like the vision that you have for the project and helping everybody to see their role is not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily the little things that they do or the big things but it's more like, here's the big vision. That's the direction that we're going. And you are
Yes.
trusting that everything that they do is directed toward that big vision.
Yes.
Have you ever any doubt of communicating that big vision? Especially if the English is your second language, like were there any,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, how was that for you?
I must say that in the team of 4 or 5 that we have,
Uh-huh.
we are such diverse. So I'm an Indian. We have a group of Asians, and then we
Oh,
have
great.
Americans, and it's
So,
it's like a mixed group.
yeah.
So it's for me, the focus has been more on it's being an active listener. It's not
Yeah.
about it's
Yes.
okay, it's going to take time for you if you think, to articulate whatever it is that you want to say. But be an active listener, give them time to
Yes.
ask questions, follow
Yeah.
it up. Because I think I came across one of your communication snippets that you put out, like we sometimes create our own glass ceiling of communication, right?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
really love that line of yours, Melinda, because it so happens that, if English is not my native language, and
Mhm.
if I have a group of people whose native language is English and I
Right.
want to ask something, I might be like, will they even get whatever I'm trying to say, does it make
Right.
sense? Is it
Right.
going to make an impact? You're going to have those judgments, right? You're going to have
Exactly.
those self-doubts about yourself. So it's important someone brings that up and
Yes.
says, it's okay, it's completely fine. Do communicate whatever it is that you want to say.
Correct.
It could be, and that's the reason why I always carry a pen and paper with me, because it's so easy to, to write stuff, draw stuff,
Yes.
if and communication is not just always about talking, right? It could be anything, it could be any form of communication.
Mhm.
So
Your
that has
passion. I can feel your passion. You're going to be led by your passion, right?
yeah.
Even if English was not your second language, even if English is your first language, we still all get miscommunication, misunderstood.
Yes,
But the
yes,
most, like,
yes.
they're led by your passion, and they're led by your authenticity, and they're led. And so when you're I love that you're placing so much focus and emphasis on your passion. I'm not going to let any like doubts like get in my way, and just like continue forward and allow them to, like you mentioned, ask questions,
Yeah.
take notes, take the time to ask them questions. So that's amazing. And what's the impact that this has had for you and your team?
The kind of impact I must say is, I can give you a quick example. So,
Yes.
um, um, when I came in for one of my, I was onboarded to a new project. When I was new to the team, there was this project that has been going on for some weeks now, and as I was invited to a meeting where there were around 10 people sitting in a conference room, and I was a new member of the project. So the whole idea of that meeting was to see where we are at with respect to the project, what are the tasks that we have to do, and all of it. And that meeting was supposed to be for an hour and extended for another 30 minutes.
Mhm.
But the whole discussion during the meeting was everybody giving their own viewpoints. Like, this is what we need to do, probably this is what we need to do, but nobody taking like a thing of, okay, this is what we have, this is what the next steps are, this is what we want, this is the person who will be doing this. There was nobody who was taking the stand to
Mhm.
just say, stop, let's appreciate everybody's viewpoints, but we need to get it somewhere.
Mhm.
um and it was then, I think it was the last uh 15 minutes, I was like, okay, this is not going to work, because next week we're going to have the same meeting for the same duration. It's going to be the same discussions happening with all the 10 members. So I was like, and there was a whiteboard right next to me, and I was like, okay, stop. And I had no idea what the project is about, because I was just new to it. I was like, okay, stop. This is what I got. And I took the whiteboard. I took a marker, and I was like, this is what I understand we have. This is what we have. Okay, this. Can we do this? Would this person work on it? And it was only the last 15 minutes of the meeting, something came out of it. And it so happened that for the next meeting, we did not need that project. In fact, did not need 10 members. All it needed was a team of three.
Wow.
So
Interesting.
so when that happened, and everybody knew what they were supposed to do, it
Mhm.
was then the project started taking some direction. We were like, okay,
Uh-huh.
we are meeting the objectives, we are meeting the deadlines.
Uh-huh.
So that is a kind of impact. You just simply standing up and saying, wait, let's all take a minute and put in words what is it that we want to do. And this
Mm.
has really, and this again ties to my whole point, that everybody should understand what the actual objective of that project or whatever it is that they're working on, because it's only then they'll make a sense of the individual tasks that they are working on.
Got
So
it.
so so yeah, so this
So
is, yeah.
were they talking about what is everybody doing for an hour, like over an hour? They're trying to figure out what everybody was doing, or
So
trying to figure out what is wrong, or what is it
it was
that you were,
everything
oh, it's
combined. So
everything. Uh-huh.
it not everybody was working on the project, but it was more of like, hey, we have this, we probably have to make enhancements to this.
Mm.
But how do we go about it? And everybody's like,
Got
probably
it.
we can do this, we can do that. But nobody was like, what exactly does the client want?
Got
Where
it.
are we with respect to that? What are our limitations? Who in our team has that experience of working with it? Nobody was talking about that. That's
I
why it was not going anywhere.
got it. Got it. And they
Yeah.
were they were talking about the specific thing, but you don't even know if that's even what the goal is or what the client
Yes.
wants. And I
Yes.
see. I see. I
Yeah.
love that. And you're able to take the initiative. You're new to the
Yeah.
project, and you took the initiative, and it turned out there was only three people that really needed to be on it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
And it
awesome.
turned out now that I am leading that project now.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
great. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So what other moments have there been where there are poor communication skills on a team? Are there other examples of that? And what was the impact of that?
Poor communication, I think there were a lot of things. Some of the issues that I definitely saw was it resulting in duplicated efforts or overlooked tasks because your team members are not on the same page as you.
Mhm.
And it was and that was impacting your project deadlines. Obviously, it leads to confusion and honestly decreased morale. Right,
Right.
every week you're attending meetings, but there's nothing happening, and the hour that you're spending on that meetings, you could actually end up doing some work that you are supposed to deliver.
Right.
So these were some of the things that I definitely see with respect to, not having proper communication,
Mhm.
not being able to articulate whatever it is that we want to achieve.
Mhm.
um but some things that really worked was, to address these questions promptly by facilitating discussions to
Mhm.
clarify all these misunderstandings, ensuring that everybody has a clear understanding of what their responsibilities are.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not a big fan of having these regular team meetings, but for me, what I have seen is these quick 15 minutes checkup. Like if you are working in the same office, go by to the desk and say, hey, where are we with it? Are you
Mhm.
clear on this?
Yeah.
Or for example, here we use a lot of these collaborative tools, like we have the Slack, Teams,
Right.
and all of it.
Right.
While we do not have a choice of those collaborative tools because it's completely up to the enterprise
Mhm.
whatever solution they went with.
Mhm.
For instance, we use Teams here.
Mhm.
So what we do is in Teams, we kind of create this group chat, an informal
Mhm.
group chat where we are saying anytime we have questions about that project, we're like, hey, what can someone tell me what is going on here? Are there any documents that you can share? And it's quickly like a very informal chat, which doesn't require you going to your email, checking if someone has asked you
Mhm.
a follow-up question.
Mhm.
So it's all about those little things. You don't have to look everything at it in a formal perspective, like let me
Right.
drop a mail to this person and ask for these details and wait for the responses. Let me just quickly create a group chat and get this sorted out.
Right, right. Because sometimes, like you said, that it's these little interactions that spur the moment, touch in with one to one. Because sometimes they don't, sometimes at the larger group meetings, they don't get a chance to really speak, or they may not speak
Yes.
everything that's on their mind. And so
Yeah.
giving them the opportunity to touch base immediately, one to one, it's so impactful and helps your team. So it helps your team deliver. What is the impact of that when you're able to have these little micro interactions with them? What do you
Yeah.
think helped? And what is the impact of that? Mhm.
So, what it has impacted is, especially with my team, what I've seen is they've become a bit open to me in terms of, that comfort aspect that comes in. Like, hey, who is this new person who's coming all of a sudden and saying
Right,
she's the lead of this thing? Like,
right,
so what? So eventually doing all these feedback sessions so I constantly have these feedback sessions. I'm like, hey, I really like the work that you're doing, but probably, a kind of constructive feedback. I have this is habitual to me, wherein I'm constantly like, appreciating. I make it a point to appreciate the work others are doing. If I like something, if that is something I really like and I want to learn, I would make it a point to go to them and ask for help. I do not see the hierarchy. It really doesn't matter to me at all, and it should not. um, and I see, it slowly means that they trying to get out of their comfort zone. They are opening up to me and asking, hey Divya, I know we talked about this, but I'm still not clear if this is what we want. And one advantage that really comes is me having the technical background.
Mm-hmm.
It really gives them that much more ease to not just talk about superficially in terms of, hey, this is some issue that we're working with IT to fix it, but they can actually talk to me about, this is why we need IT, and
Mm-hmm.
this, and see if I can help, help them debug it.
Mm,
So mix having the technical plus that management kind of thing, it kind of makes it even easy for me to kind of connect with them and see
right,
where we are heading, and it
right.
also opens up more communication for them. um, And I have seen, there were a couple of people who came up to me and said, Divya, I really like the way that, you took up the initiation to, write something on the whiteboard and, take that lead. I wish we could also do that. And it's like, yes, you can do that. This is something I never planned it. Right. So one impact I see is you being the reason for others to get inspired and motivated.
Love.
So that's something I and this is very, it's an ongoing journey. It's not going
Yeah.
to stop.
Yeah.
But these are some of the beautiful impacts that I have seen out of having these effective communication channels.
Yes, having that courage, that step up, that leap of faith to get up in front of that team like that day took a
Yeah.
lot of courage
Yeah.
and leadership. And so I
Yeah.
commend you for that. And now look at you're owning the project, you're the lead of the project. So that's the power of presentation skills and getting up to speak in front of a group because you're automatically seen as now the lead of this. It does take
Yeah.
courage though. So congratulations on that. And it was
Thank you.
successful. And then now you're able to also, I love the balance of having the technical capabilities and also the people skills, the communication skills to go to your team with, they feel comfortable with you. So not only is it only just the communicating, but it's also the openness and the genuine curiosity of how they're doing.
Yes.
That I think
Yes.
really
Yes.
makes you a powerful, effective leader. And so I really appreciate your time and sharing your experience today with us. I've learned so much. And I'm just so honored that you're here and sharing all the things that you've been doing. And so I like to ask if for all my guests, one thing at the end, which is the leadership golden takeaway that you'd like to share with the audience. What would that be?
So my leadership goal and takeaway would be to share the importance of leading by example. That has worked out beautifully for me, while it has its own ups and downs, but it's worth it. As a leader, your actions set the tone for your entire team. Demonstrating the values and work ethic you expect from your team members is going to inspire them to follow suit as well. So, and
Mhm.
it is that comes out of this authentic leadership. You're going to build trust and respect, which is really essential for a high performing team. So that would be my golden takeaway is,
Mhm.
just lead by example.
I totally agree. I totally, because they're watching and our
Yes.
energy is actually contagious. Like, so when, and
Yes.
our energy, our behaviors, our words are contagious and they're
Yeah.
following you and us. And so, yeah, lead
Yeah.
by example.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the best. That's the best way. And it's actually easier for us. It makes it easier for us because we can't really affect at the end of the day, as much as we
Mm-hmm.
talk to people, tell people what to do, it's up to them. And so they're
Yes.
watching, and it's better when they can change and decide for themselves by watching you.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm certain that your whole team is powerful and effective, and I'm so glad that you're on the forefront of helping to improve our healthcare and the way we look at our health through these innovative research and solutions. And so thank you so much for joining us
Thank you so
today.
much, Melinda.
It was
It was
really
it was
fun.
really nice reminiscing about everything that has happened. I kept having that smile on my face. So thank you.
I'm inspired, and I trust that people that are still starting off in their journey feel inspired and take the courageous step like Divya did. Keep on pushing, keep on moving forward, trusting yourself and stretch yourself. Go toward where it's uncomfortable, and you'll see just the power that you have to do it.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Divya. And thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
Melinda.
Thank you. Thank you, audience, for joining today. Hope you enjoyed this episode. And until next time, I'm your sister in flow. May prosperity flow to you and through you always. Take care. Thanks for joining the conversation today. Are you curious on how you measure up with your ability to speak in flow? Come grab my free self-assessment at https://speakinflow.com/assessment. And I'll see you on the other side.